consciousness through light, through angles. There's nothing past that. Past that, there just is. There's just existence. So we have to start there. Then once we start there, we take a step further. Now I take these multiple angles and arrange them in a way that I create a shape. First shape I create, let's say I create a square. A square is 4 angles, 4 90-degree angles. 4 times 90 degrees equals 360 degrees. 4 corners of the earth, 4 elements. 4 is what? Foundation. You see? I take those angles and remultiply them again. Now I got a hexagon. Now I got all these different geometric shapes that come with their own different forms of energies and vibrations. Then I take it even further and manipulate these shapes further. Now I have images and symbols that convey a message of what they like to say 1,000 words. You see? So once again, that's a perfect example of taking things to the source of source knowledge, because we see one thing, but we don't break it all the way down to its most minute form. Perfect example, the table of elements. Table of elements doesn't even exist because there's only one element,
hydrogen.
The hydrogen atom. You see what I'm saying?
Everything else is just a rearrangement.
There you go. So let's break that down. The hydrogen atom. Since the hydrogen atom is the only element that truly exists, now we have to break down the hydrogen atom. Hydro.
Water.
Water. Gen.
Gen as in creation, right? Create. Yeah.
You see, brother, this is why we got to make more, because you're a smart brother. I love dealing with smart brothers. Water, basically, hydrogen means what? Liquid genetics.
Yeah. Or water.
There you go.
Creation out of water.
There you go. Yeah, you can say it like that, too. Liquid genetics, water genetics. You see what I'm saying?
When I heard gen, I created as Genesis,
Yeah.
Genesis, creation.
Yeah. So we have to learn to decode everything we see, learn, touch, feel, and break it down to its rawest form of the source to truly understand where it comes from, what its purpose is, and what we're allowing it to do to our minds, through our actions, and in our lifestyles. To leave it at what it is, which is the remix of the remix of the remix, is using something at its most diluted form, expecting a result.
It's a lot weaker than we too.
You see? I bet you these Negroes, when they go to the bar and somebody water down their Henny, they gonna be fighting. But I look at you in the face and I tell you, it's still Henny. And you're like, no, nigga, this is Henny and water. You see? But yet, you don't want to break down the diluted forms of your religion. You don't want to break down the diluted forms of your belief. You don't want to break down the diluted forms of this current society and social system that's been constructed in order to dilute you from your purest form. So yeah, man, once again, we back to the 3 keys: source knowledge, divine ascension, and infinite expansion. And I had just put this up this morning, but this is a fact. The more laws you need, the lower you are in existence. In the world that we have created, in the world that we are creating, there's only 7 laws, 4 elements, and 3 keys. Why 4 elements? On this dimensional realm, living on this planet we call Earth, there's 4 things that exist in me at all times, and also 4 things that I feel I have to participate in order to continue to exist, which is an illusion, by the way, because you don't need to eat. The only thing you really need to do, think about it, brother. Tell me what's the only thing that you really need to so-called live in this existence you're in, on this plane.
Well, using not using intelligence, because intelligence just is, from the time you're born. The only thing you've done when you were born is really just breathe. So.
The breath.
Just breathe.
The breath. The breath is the only thing that if I take it away from you, no matter who you are, in the same damn near exact time, you'll die. I cannot give you water. I can't tell when you're going to die.
Yeah.
I cannot give you food. I can't tell when you're going to die. You see what I'm saying? But the breath the air. And see, essentially, what is air? Air is another form of water as well.
Yes.
And what's the proof of that if you need proof, people out there? Breathe on a mirror and see what happens to your breath. It turns into water, which they call condensation. So, back to the four elements. On this plane, as the divinities we are, the only thing we truly need is air, one of the four. After that, we participate in earth by eating the vegetation. We participate in fire by absorbing the light, also by using our reproductive system, which is the symbolism and representation of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we drink water. But we could smush that together with air, because every time you breathe in oxygen, you're taking in water. You see? If you train yourself properly with consistency, you can actually distill the air in your body into water and never have to drink it. And that's what a breatharian does. And, of course, we fell from these high states at another cycle in so-called time before we got here, to where the only thing we did need was light and water. So what are we looking at today when we look into the mirror? We're looking at God folded upon itself, representing itself in a flesh third density form that has fallen from a higher form of a light being. The lower that we fall, the more layers that we need in order to conduct ourselves in this layer after layer of atmospheric bubble, fishbowl that we're in right now. The more pressure that's upon us, the more dense we need to become. How you fix that? Excuse me, not how you fix that. How do you ascend? Well, if the more pressure that are upon us, or the more weight is on us, we become more dense and we're more held down. What's the first thing we need to do?
Start removing the weights.
Let everything fucking go. Let it go. Let your ego go. Let your pride go. Let your materials go. Let your dependencies go. Let your needs go. And all of these come at levels that get sliced off the top. And what happens? You begin to become lighter. The lighter you become, the easier it is to rise. We have taken the most simplest things and created a complex perception in order to justify not dealing with them. In order to justify being distracted from them, or being discouraged to seek a deeper understanding of them. That perception has been given to us by the same deficient mind who was unable to understand it from the beginning. You ever notice how they talk? If they're not able to do something, you're not able to do it.
That's what they say.
you know, if they haven't seen it, you ain't see it.
I've had a conversation with a guy like that, and he pretty much told me the same thing, and I have to just literally go out the back and tell him. I mean, I understand, because I already understood why he was telling me all these things in the first place. I completely forgot you're a soulless being. You don't really understand these things. I had to tell him that, because
they're mechanical.
Because he can't help it. I know you cannot help but be able to tell me everything I say is a lie, because you can't see it yourself. It's like, just because I've been mature enough to grow that even though there are certain things that I haven't seen through my experiences and through when I was on a lower level and not being able to understand something at that point in time, but then eventually growing to understand it eventually, allowed me to be able to say, hey, you know what? I've never seen this before, or this guy was telling me about this. I can't say that it does not exist because I've never seen it, because before in my time I could have said the same thing. Mm-hmm. But see, they can't do that. But there's a reason why they can't do that. We know why.
Now, see, here's the beautiful part about what you just said, brother. Because the more we come into a knowingness, a foundation of accumulation of so-called knowledge of self, facts, histories, biology, different forms of science, and then we go into an understanding of these things, how can anybody make you upset?
They can't.
Everybody around here is programmed, including myself. So when I speak to a programmed person, their ability to distort my emotions is their power over me. Mm-hmm. And see, I know and recognize this every time I speak to somebody. Mm-hmm. So for me to get upset at anything that they say is me not using my intelligence, not applying my knowledge, and giving them power over me, which is exactly why they started you off by killing you for reading, so you had no foundational knowledge whatsoever. So the only thing we have to go on today is belief, and their favorite word, faith, which is just a blindfold around your fucking eyes while somebody is directing you to a cliff. So you're absolutely right, man. And see, I can never have a conversation with anybody. You know the only person I can have a conversation with and get upset?
A woman.
There you go! My polarity.
That's a fact.
The one that I love and that I place my emotions on is the only one who can distort them.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is the so-called complex part about women, because they put their emotions in everything.
Mm-hmm.
See, as men, we put our emotions in our children and our women, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is mechanical.
Yeah.
But see, they put their emotions in their pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
They put their emotions in their shoes. They put their emotions in everything. And then when you come with logic for something that you think is just an object, you get hit with emotion, and now you're in the middle of an argument. But see, if you're a smart man, you know when to surrender and shut that shit down. You see what I'm saying? But you got a lot of dumb niggas walking around here talking about, it's the principle. It's the principle. You don't even know what the fuck that word means. You see what I'm saying?
Hell, if you would understand there's always two principles. There's yours and then hers. So then just understand, it's not about understanding one. You got to understand both.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you truly become at peace. It's like, I cannot tell you how much easier my life's been since I started understanding women, son.
Mm-hmm.
For real. When I understood my nature and understood her nature,
and you know what?
Certain things that don't even exist.
I'm glad
I
you
don't
just
even have
said
that problem.
Because that's a question I get a lot. Like, what do I study or what do I read to find out about my name? We don't understand. Everything is so simple.
Oh, God.
If you know what you are as a man, the only thing you have to do next is reverse those aspects and attributes